better to me than cherry pie.
See how I'm walking, see how I'm talking. Notice everything in me. Feel the need, oh feel it, feel the need in me.
Thank you for all your messages. Thanks to my guests Griff Rhys-Jones, Stacey Dooley and Izzy Sooty. This was a TBI Media production. The team, Helen, Nelson, Molly, Anna and Jeff, thank you very much. I've absolutely loved it. I've been for Claudia. I'll be back on at 5 o'clock tomorrow until 7 p.m. This is Radio 2 on the BBC Sounds app, on your smart speaker and on 88 to 91 FM.
BBC News at 1 o'clock. This is Mike Powell. Ministers have again tried to reassure people worried about soaring energy bills, insisting they won't have long to wait before the next Prime Minister announces additional help. They said the new leader would explore a range of properly costed options before deciding how to help people with high gas and electricity bills. Sylvia Simpson, who runs the advice service Money Buddies in West Yorkshire, says they're finding it increasingly difficult to help struggling households.
We're running out of tools because at the end of the day, if there's no money, there's no money, and people can't give what they haven't got. So we're trying to be kind of practical about it. You know, this is campaign saying don't pay direct debit on the 1st of October. We're saying don't pay direct debit, but set up a standing order instead, because then that gives you control of your money.
Police investigating the murder of 9-year-old Olivia Pratt-Corbell in Liverpool have repeated their appeal for people to come forward with names. A second man has been arrested on suspicion of murder. A 36-year-old who was detained on Thursday night is still being questioned. The Environment Secretary, George Eustice, has defended plans to crack down on raw sewage being discharged into waterways after opposition parties condemned them as a cruel joke. Mr Eustice said there would be a big increase in investment over the next 25 years, adding that successive governments have avoided the problem for fear of putting up bills for consumers.
This is big infrastructure changes. The changes we're announcing in this plan will actually cost £56 billion to implement. We need to put in place the infrastructure so that we don't need to use these storm overflows. If you don't enable them to be used at all, then literally sewage backs up through people's toilets into their homes. And obviously we don't want that either. So we need to put in place the infrastructure to reduce the number of discharges.
At least 50 more people have died in Pakistan as torrential downpours continue to wreak havoc. At least 1,000 people have died in flooding since June. Asif Shirazi, who works for Islamic Relief Worldwide in Pakistan, called it a mega disaster.
The rain was continuously destroying more and more infrastructure, the houses of the people, livelihood assets, as well as the public infrastructure, bridges, roads. So it's a destruction everywhere. And if I compare it with 2010 floods, the situation is worse. 33 million people in total are impacted.
A man in his 20s has died after entering the River Thames as police attempted to arrest him in southwest London. Officers out on patrol at around 10:30 last night were called to reports of a row between a man and a woman who knew each other and were in the process of detaining the man on Kingston Bridge. The weather, a mostly dry and bright afternoon with the chance of light showers in some places. BBC News at 3 minutes past 1.
Greetings, Pop Pickers. Saturday is our day for Pick of the Pops on BBC Radio 2. In the first hour, it's the top 20 from this date in 1984. Then we hear the hits from the 27th of August, 1995. If it's 84, there must be Tina, Prince, and Elton. Then there's Stevie Wonder, Rod Stewart, and Laura Branigan. I just called to say I love you. I'll fly for you. Some guys have all the luck. What's love got to do with it? Like to get to know you well. Self-control. We begin in 84. Number 19. Prince, When Doves Cry.